Don't count out Casey Drake in that 87.
One more lap to go here at Indy. He ran him all the way from 3 seconds back. 2 laps to go. Oh, L2 gets done. Oh, Matthew gets the apron. Around goes Drexler. He spins right from the back. Huge wreck. The 2 flies up in the air. It's 3 wide. Oh, what a move by Derek. He wants to go.
Tries to send him up the hill, but can't quite do it.
Now between the 2 is 2 car lengths. Too little, too late for Derek and Smith. Oh, Clapping gets third. Clapping gets third. Oh my gosh. Side by side. 3 wide at the wire.
And we welcome everybody here live on the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Tour, getting set to go green here just momentarily as we get drivers set for this 100-lap event live at Benjamin A. White's home track. Benjamin, welcome to the broadcast here tonight.
Thank you, and the races here are always very good, but unfortunately with this lower turnout, we won't see as good of a show here tonight, but with this new Super Late Model update that has come in this latest build, we are going to see a lot of people struggle to handle the car. Everybody has reported loose conditions out here on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, of course, you mentioned it. This is the new Super Late Model. I thought it would be introduced in the last week of the build, but I mean, here we are. We're sitting now week 9 out of 10, and now with something new on these drivers' hands, who's going to be the best to adapt to these changing conditions? So it should be fun and interesting to see on how it'll all work out. But man, this Super Late Model though, oh my goodness, it's a beauty.
Absolutely, and it was due for an update. It had just been around for, I don't know, like 4 years on the service, and it just looked like those really old ones. But now we have this updated body, this 5-star body that they scan from, and now here we are with it on iRacing for the first time here in iSCAR. We'll see how it works and look at that damage model as well. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think this is one of the first cars that were on iRacing, but you did mention it, like around, I don't know, maybe late 2014-ish is, or maybe 2013 is when this the Super Late was introduced. But oh man, I love this car, but I mean, I drove it here just as a test session, just to see how the car feels, and I'm not sure if it was like a setup transfer issue or something like that, but man, this thing is super loose. Everybody is, I mean, you'll see it around the racetrack. We'll get a blimp view, and you'll see somebody self-spinning on the screen. I mean, you see a car upside down on the backstretch, so that's obviously not what you want to do, but regardless, gives an example of how ill-handling these race cars are, but whatever the corner, whatever to whip yourself around these corners.
Up to 12 people entered. We just see Liam Sheen there has just registered for the session, so that will add another car to our lead, or not our lead count, but our race count here tonight. So we'll see how Liam fares here tonight as a late entry. Here's your point standings though, Zeke. 9 points. It's very, very, very within reach for Hunter Johnson here.
Yeah, that's right, with 12 people here, and of course add-on bonus points, 0x's, all the other shenanigans that make the championship interesting for Hunter Johnson in his win last week. Oh man, Christopher Weil, I don't know if he's really sweating or anything like that, but that number 41 needs to be on his A game to have a solid night out of here at Five Flags. So we're just gonna have to see on how it'll all turn out, but we're gonna see ourselves at the side. Play the national anthem, rise out, remove your hats as we salute our nation's colors. And we welcome everybody back here live at the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Tour. Getting set to go green, currently under qualifying conditions as of right now. Drivers taking their fastest two around the racetrack. And for Aiden Saunders in the 85, making his, I mean, not a debut, but his return here tonight. He runs himself on the top of the board, so how about that for the 85?
About halfway through qualifying here, of course, our heavy hitters, those being the 12 and the 41, have yet to make lap times, as well as the 0.95 of Parker White, who is now coming onto the racetrack to complete a few qualifying laps here. But Aiden showing some decent speed. Look at the gap he has over Carson. That's over a 10th.
Curious to see what the 0.95 Parker's going to hit here, but if we get an onboard of him, I mean, you'll see the steering wheel and how much he's just wheeling it through the corner, and that's required in the super late model. And how you use the wheel to corner through the corner through the center off. And Benjamin, you've been to the track in real life as Parker nails down a flyer. I mean, not really much of a flyer to Saunders' lap. I mean, only faster by a smidge, but regardless, still pull time either way for the 0.95. But Benjamin, you've been at this racetrack. Describe to me what it is out there as Parker nails another one.
Well, this track's very worn out. You can see the surface from this blimp view. There's only a few dark spots on the racetrack. That's where the racing groove is. But if you get out in that gray area, you're going to lose so much grip, and it's easy to self-spin up there. But it's also easy to self-spin if you just hit that apron wrong. As you see, look at Hunter Johnson. Spins around on his qual lap, and unfortunately will not count there. But yes, a very worn out surface. This will definitely wear your tires out a lot faster than most tracks, and tire conservation is very key here at this racetrack. I've seen people push their cars to about lap 60 on feature races, like normal feature races, like 75 laps. They'll push, and then their stuff will be wore out by lap 60. You'll have the people that saved come flying back up to the field, so that it makes for some very interesting battles and races to the end. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, this race is going to be 100 laps, so it should be interesting to see on who those drivers are going to be, and when are they going to take their tires, and who's going to shuffle and filter where. So I'm sure we'll see a caution or two, but it's all going to matter at the end for that white flag and where you are out on the racetrack, as Sean Leisure logs himself in 5th.
I'll tell you, I'm very impressed by Aiden Saunders' lap here. It's his first race here in about like 5 months, and qualifies up in the 2nd spot. That's pretty good for somebody who hasn't been here in a long time.
Yeah, that's right. That 85 of Saunders, excited to see him back on the racetrack. And looks like only 8 drivers have logged in at least 1 lap. The other 4 are going to not attempt, or either not in the session. So that'll leave us with looks like 12 drivers in here registered for this one. So it should be interesting. Looks like we're just going to run 1 heat. And, I mean, we might run actually 2. Everybody outside the top 5 is going to get shoved into a race for 5th on back. So we're going to run 2 prior events coming to the feature. So it should be interesting to see on, you know, it also gives a bit more practice laps for the drivers right behind who are just going to finish outside of this top 5 window.
Yeah, drivers can use this as their practice, racing around other cars specifically. So we'll see how that ends up here, and we'll see if anybody makes any sort of mistake driving around in traffic. But we'll go over your starting grid real quick. This is Parker White on the pole, narrowly beating the 85's lap time. That's Aiden Saunders starting in the 2nd spot here for this 1 heat.
Wow, starts in 2nd alongside with, starts in 3rd, excuse me, alongside Poindexter in 21.
Sean Leisure hasn't raced here since the first half of the season. He is back here tonight at Five Flags Speedway. We'll start in the 5th spot. That's Max Urich alongside in the first choice Millworks car.
Harry Grindle in the number 70, right alongside the number 32 of James Youngman. And rounding off the row, we're going to read out all the way to 10th is Hunter Johnson and Liam Sheenan. Looks like Rosera and Luke Lafaro are not in tonight's session. So $10 on the line here for this race. So 10 drivers out on the racetrack. Should be fun to see on how they'll turn out.
we see a late restart, this thing will get very, very, very interesting very quickly here. So we'll see how it turns out, but we do have a heat to run first.
Yep, that is right. So 8 laps to determine the top 5. After that, it's going to be 10 laps to determine 6th or 10th. Space car scoots south down on the pit road. Parker White's going to nail the throttle, and up and away we're going to go.
Green flag, green flag.
Here we go. And the 1 looks like Parker's going to clear. But Saunders charging on the high side. Nice run off of 2. Going to bring him side by side with the 195.
He battles on the outside. That's going to wear out your right side tires on a run, but we'll see if he can either get clear of Weil or maybe driving past Parker White on the outside. Look at the exit that Saunders gets, though. He runs a little wide on that exit as Weil comes down the inside for second place.
Hunter Johnson sort of plowing through the field, now to the underside of the 70 of Grindle, and trying to work himself forward inside the top 5. Grindle's going to fall into the hands of that number 12. They're still just about 2 by 2 in the background with Urich and Poindexter.
Saunders on the outside ends up clearing Weil for the second spot. Now he will set his sights on the 095. That's Parker White, leading every lap since the start so far.
Oh, and around goes the 60 Urich right in the front straightaway. He gets out of harm's way, though, but we're still green because it is a heat race after all. And through the center of the corner, looks like Aiden Saunders trying to close the gap with Parker.
Saunders said in the chat before, he said he likes driving these loose race cars. That's the condition that everybody was reporting tonight, was very loose, and Saunders enjoys doing that. He races a lot of dirt, and now it's applying here to this super late model update.
Sean Leisure to 4th place as Hunter Johnson's going to approach the scene, try to work to the back end of him and see what the other difference is. And Leisure, you see the back end just step out. Hunter, available opportunity to gun for 4th, and indeed he does so.
These two are former teammates on Proximity Racing. Now they have gone their different ways, but they know each other very well and race respectfully on the racetrack. Hunter will take 4th spot. Leisure drops back to 5th. That's the final spot to lock in the spots here for the start of the main event.
White flag is signed by for Parker White, as there's a wreck right behind. Poindexter maybe around. He falls all the way to 9th place, but in the meantime of that, Parker White in the 095 will work himself into 3 and 4. Easy heat win. Leads by 0.7 over Aiden Saunders. Keeps up the heat win. And it looks like it's going to be Saunders, while Johnson and Leisure making themselves evident as everybody else outside this top 5 is going to have to race one more time.
Everybody's guaranteed a spot into the main event, so there's no concerns. It's just the fact that they will have to start further back than they would like to.
Yeah, and the only spots they can race out with is from 6th all the way to 10th. So, again, it's going to be a 10-lap event for this last little LCQ-ish race. So, Harry Sheen going to round out row number 1.
Row 2, James Youngman, Max Urich there in the first choice Millworks car, and then the last car on grid is Carson Poindexter. Rosero and Luke Lafaro are not registered in the session anymore, so they are done for the night.
Did you see that billboard of top stars of 2013?
Yes.
Yeah, that had some interesting name, yeah.
Yes, watched a lot of them, as we've been there so many times, at least myself. So those names are familiar around there. One of those you could definitely notice was Daniel Hamrick up there.
Yeah, that's right.
Late Model Championship 2013. He won the Blizzard Series Championship, which is the Super Late Model Series that they have locally at the racetrack.
Yeah, Hamrick now a Cup Series driver. Cool to see those names coming out of the local track. As they work themselves through 3 and 4. I'll see the new pace car. Bit of controversy around it. I mean, some people like it, some people don't. I find it interesting. I don't know why they changed it, though. No need to, but they changed it regardless.
That front end reminds me of a Tesla, so we have a Tesla pace car, we'll just say that. which costs way more than the track can probably afford, so they should be thankful, yes.
Pace car scoots itself down in. And Harry Grindle in the number 70 is going to lead the field to
Green,
this
green, green.
last chance qualifying event. Up and away we go. Harry will hit the throttle, but looks like Sheen got a better restart.
The 32 really spun the tires there, so he will fall back. That's Urich up to the 3rd spot. Carson goes around James for 4th, so I think James just wants to ride around here for these 10 laps. There's no need, really. If he feels like that's about where he would start on pace, then there's really no need to try and push it and crash. As we see here, the battle for the race lead, that's Grindle and Sheen right now, about a half second over Urich for the 3rd spot.
Oh, Sheen washed up off of 4, and you see Urich sideways off of 4 as well. Might give a position to Poindexter in that number 21, but Urich up the racetrack, Poindexter at the bottom. This is for 3rd as, whoa, Liam just about loses off the corner. They're gonna have to check up, and Liam goes around!
And just absolutely clocks the wall there. That tire wall right at the entry of pit road. Hits that and will drop to 5th here in the heat, which will in turn make him start dead last for the main event here as Grindle pulls away.
And here he's going to pull away for, looks like a 6th place starting spot. 6 laps to go this time by as Liam gets himself going. Yeah, and he just about spun it off of 2, and it sort of jammed him up as Poindexter tried to get under him. And eventually, Liam came down on the number 21 and around that number 1 went. I don't think this is over as, oh, Urich! Self-spin off of 2. No caution though, but might give an opportunity for Sheen to take it if DD does so. So, Liam around for that 6th spot, but he washes up the corner.
I think Liam's just testing the limits of this car at this point. He has nothing to gain now. But he does have a little bit to lose as Urich has refired his car about a half the track back from our race leader, Harry Grindle, who is actually being caught right now by Carson. It was down to... and we have just erased everything that I was about to say there because Carson had cut about a half second into that lead, but now completely crashes the car. It looks like he'll start last maybe as Urich goes by. 2 laps of racing left.
Yeah, Poindexter looks like he got loose into 1 and overcorrected right into the outside wall he went. So, all for this number 70 of Grindle. Easy 6th starting spot. 3.4 over James Youngman. White flag this time by.
Harry has said that this is one of his favorite cars to drive, and he's showing it. He's wheeling the car around the racetrack here, leading every lap here in this short 2nd heat. Harry Grindle will win, and will start 6th in the main event later. Yeah,
we'll transition ourselves right into the warm-up session. I'm sure everybody's going to utilize the time to get some last-minute adjustments in as well. But for the 70, of course, 10 more laps than what the people in the heat logged in. And should be fun to see how this will all turn out by the end of it. So 12 entries, 10 drivers, I think, in this one. And up and away we go with the warm-up. So 5 minutes of warm-up as these drivers work around the racetrack. And this car is interesting. I'll tell you what, I mean, self-spin, not self-spin, but getting loose has been the name of the game, basically. This car is just so loose in the center of the corner. I mean, it's loose everywhere, just about. And I think it's all going to matter on how you're going to nail this, the center of the corner, the apex, and how you're going to exit off of 4, but it should be interesting to see on how it'll all turn out by the end of it, as we're getting some onboard shots as everybody works themselves through. And with this one, this is an onboard shot of Poindexter, so you see how sideways this is. I mean, he's wheeling it throughout, and he's barely in the throttle off the corner, and that thing already wants to step out.
This is one of those racetracks, though, that you have to drive loose. If you drive a tight setup here, one, you'll be plowing straight into the wall, and two, you'll be so slow. So definitely driving a loose setup is something you'll have to get used to around here.
Definitely. I mean, as you see, everybody's just wrecking into turn number 1. Display of the new smoke system as well. So if you get a big wreck, hopefully nobody piles in. But there's a lot of new features in this Super Late. I think that a lot of people are just trying to get their hands on. Of course, I think the new Super Late model is just very loose. I mean, I remember previous builds. I mean, with the older tire model, of course, the Super Late model was fairly tight, and I think it had a wider footprint than this current Super Late. I mean, this newer version of Super Late model, because I think the older one was way wider than what we see here. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it'll all turn out, and of course you gotta introduce new setup tactics and such like that. So it should be fun to see on how it'll all turn out.
Absolutely. The first race after something major has been updated, whether it's a car or setups or a tire model or a surface model, as we have definitely seen the last few days during the hosted races that people have been putting up on iRacing. Everybody's been enjoying Auto Club, Homestead, Charlotte, among other tracks that have been updated with a little bit of a different surface model.
That's right. I know they did change how tires interact with the rubber as well. So I'm not sure if that's going to play a difference here tonight. I mean, it is a short track after all, but who knows? That one small difference can pull in a factor. Should be interesting to see how this will all turn out by the end of it.
Absolutely. Final minute here in the final practice session. People are making last minute either adjustments to their force feedback or steering ratio or other. Brake bias as well. You'll probably see a few people change that before the race starts. So we'll see what these guys are going to have here for 100 laps.
Still 30 seconds remaining. If you're not just joining us here for tonight's event, iSCAR's Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Series. Gotta go green for the 5 Flags event. Race 9 out of 10 to go into the books and be a championship points battle. All eyes are on that number 41 and number 12 on where they're gonna finish here tonight. So if one has a bad night here tonight, I think that might be wraps for their championship. But if Wow has a bad night, of course, doors open to that number 12, Hunter Johnson, and how he's going to attack here for this one. So should be interesting to see on how it'll all turn out.
And if I'm not mistaken, next week is Bristol, correct?
Yep, and you know how many people...
We will see probably the largest turnout all season there at that racetrack. So definitely the door is wide open for this championship.
Yep, that is right. So we're going to pull up the grid here for tonight. Parker White in the 095 rounds himself out first, and Saunders are right alongside of him.
Second row here tonight, Christopher Weil and Hunter Johnson. These two are your people to watch for the championship. We'll see how they do during these next 100 laps.
Sean Leisure in the 67 right alongside the number 70 of Harry Grindle.
Row 4, James Youngman, after just riding around, got himself a second place finish in that heat, and he'll start 7th. That's alongside Liam Sheen, who spun in that heat but recovered to 3rd. Will start 8th.
It's Max Yerrick in 9th place, and Poindexter in that number 21 in 10th. So 100 laps we're going to log in here with this one. And 2 tire sets these drivers are going to have to strategize upon. So if we do see a caution, maybe some drivers might hit pit road early. I'm not really sure. I mean, Benjamin, you talk about tire saving here.
Absolutely. This is one of the most hard tracks on your tires. This will wear out your tires so fast. So This tire management is key here at this racetrack, and we'll see who will do the best job of that, especially our championship contenders. But I think for Hunter Johnson, he needs to be leading as many laps as possible. Bonus points are very important here as we come to the end of this season, and he needs to get up to the lead as fast as he can. But Parker White's just been so fast this week. I don't know if anybody can catch him.
Yeah, we'll just have to see on how it'll all turn out by the end of it. 100 laps going to go into the books. Glad you could tune us here live on Max Speed TV for Aiden Saunders in the 85. Trying to grab an iSCAR win here tonight. Pace car is in. Parker's going to hold back the field
Green
just
flag,
a bit.
green
We'll
flag.
go green here for 100 laps at 5 flags.
The 85 gets a great start, but that outside line's not what he wants. He gets loose through 1 and 2, has to chase up the track. Look at Hunter Johnson go 3 wide. Look at all of them just sideways off the corner. That will give the advantage though to Parker White as Harry spins, and he will go back up the racetrack. Will there be a caution?
No,
I don't believe so.
wow.
How?
I can't believe there was a caution.
That would have been a caution at the Riddle track, I can tell you that from experience. Saunders, though, back to the inside, trying to recover from that first lap mistake there. Wild gets loose off the corner. Saunders battles for second now.
Saunders being really aggressive, trying to push himself forward, but Hunter not letting this 85 go, as you see the 67 Elysier also get into the mix, but Parker's loving what he sees in his mirror, and up and away he's sort of slowly starting to pull away from this little pack as James Youngman is on pit road very early, but still fairly close within these 4 drivers right here, all just about under a blanket.
Off of turn 4, Saunders given no room to Wild there and forces him way up the racetrack. He'll lose 1, 2, maybe 3 spots here. Here comes Leisure for the 4th spot.
There's a battle right behind, as well as Poindexter, Sheen, and Yerk all battle it within, and Harry's just left on his own for right now, but now Hunter's into second place. He passes Saunders for that position. And what will Saunders do? He's going to try to fling it to the inside of the 12. Looks like can't complete it, and Hunter now up to second. We'll see what he could do to grab the lead away from Parker White.
As soon as Hunter Johnson learns how to drive the car, you know he'll be one of the fastest here on the racetrack. And there you see him take that second spot from Aiden, starting to pull away just a little bit over this 85 car. But man, Parker White's running some very fast lap times right now.
Yeah, that's right. Parker, I mean, that separation was only caused between, because of that 3-wide contact, and Harry ended up spinning off of that as Leisure loose off of, I think that was turn number 4, and just about around he went, but Hunter sort of still under pressure from this 85 of Saunders, and I'm curious what to see their lap times between this 12 versus the 095 as Parker hits a 0.8, Hunter looks like hits a 0.7, so Hunter's closing the gap.
Just about a 10th a lap there. Parker, though, has the ability to save. Look at this gap that he's pulled before Hunter started running these lap times. Parker can easily just save and let Hunter catch him. Then he'll just pull back away because he saved his tires. This is one of the most important tracks to conserve your tires at. And I know I've said that a few times already, but that's just how important it is here at 5 Flags.
Yeah, it's just the name of the game. It's something we're going to have to mention throughout as we progress with the night, as looks like Aiden is giving up a lot of time to this number 12 of Johnson, now under fire from the 67 of Leisure. So Leisure and Aiden now battling for third, gives less pressure to that number 12 of Johnson. Now he could just focus in on the leader of that number 095 of Parker White, who's still slowly starting to fade. I mean, they're running similar lap times right now, so Parker seems as though he might have a handle on this race car finally.
Absolutely. I think everybody's learning this car right now. These are probably the first laps that they've ran on this track since this update. I wouldn't be surprised if a few people practice, though, especially our championship contenders, but this is Poindexter and Sheen right now battling on the racetrack. This is for the 6th spot. They're about 4.7 seconds back of our race leader of Parker White, so I think they're just trying to maybe run their race right now at this point.
The gaps between Parker White, Hunter Johnson, and Aiden Saunders, the intervals between those 3 drivers are all similar, around the 0.8 range, as Aiden slowly starting to pull away from the 67 Leisure. And with the 12 ahead of this number 41 of Weil, that means Weil's going to lose a bit of points if it does come to end right now, as now we got a fight here for this 6th position. It's Liam Sheen and the number 1 trying to fend out Poindexter as Poindexter up the racetrack. Poindexter kept it in the throttle though. He's still side by side with the 1.
This is one of those tracks where if you can get it turned, you can keep in the throttle for a long time, especially on exit of turn 2. That's the best area to do that. There you see Carson work to Sheen's inside. Those two said they've just been trying to learn the car all night long so far, and they're putting on a heck of a show here for the 6th spot, but Carson gets into him. Good save there by Liam, but I don't think he'll be too happy with that move.
Yeah, and they both lost time to the 6th of Max Yerk, who's closing up on this battle, and seems as though first lap car of the night is going to be the 70 of Grindle, as we're 1/5 of the way through this event. Of course, Grindle, I'm going to mention that he was one of the cars who were involved in that turn 3 and 4 incident. Luckily for him, I mean, he's still on the racetrack, but he's going to go 1 lap down to the 095. He's the only car who's on, I mean, he's the last car on the tail end of the lead lap, so if he does get lapped and we see a caution, well, Seven's going to go back on the lead lap.
He's definitely somebody who, once the leaders catch him, if he's a lap car, he will get out of the way. He's one of the most considerate drivers on the racetrack, so I don't expect any issues there, but most people are running similar lap times right now, at least in the top 5.
Closest battle right now is for the 6th spot between Poindexter and Sheen still. Well, that gap for the lead is slowly starting to close now. 0.6 separates Parker and Hunter, as now the 70 of Harry is sort of sandwiching these two. Harry going to move up high for this number 12. We'll see if the 12 is going to catch him off of exit. And indeed he does so. So I think Hunter's going to lose a bit of time, unfortunately. And now that gap expands out to 0.7. So Hunter just caught Harry at a bad time, and Harry just trying to move out of the way. And the gap now up to 7/10, but it's still closing as now Hunter's back in, I'd say, cleanish air.
I don't think Harry did anything wrong there. He was just trying to give way and just couldn't do it fast enough there, but Hunter Johnson is still running some very fast lap times right here behind Parker White. You can see he's a bit better on exit right now compared to this race leader of Parker White.
Yeah, I think exit speed just matters so much, since there's so much turn throughout the racetrack, and once you're off the turn, I mean, it's only like a couple seconds to the next set of corners into turns 1 and 2, for example, from Parker White. So you gotta nail the corner entry and exit as much as you can to get yourself around this racetrack. And you see right there, Hunter got a huge run off of turn number 2, and now the gap is now to 0.3.
Hunter is doing what he needs to do to win this championship. He needs to get up there fast, though, and lead as many laps as possible to get not only the bonus point for having a lap led, but the most laps led. These are important points on the line here.
And if Parker leads 51 laps out of the scheduled 100, it's over unless we have an overtime restart. So Hunter needs to get there ASAP, but don't burn off your tires doing it, though, in which Parker could reattempt to pass you for that position. So you see Parker's rear end just stepping out. Hunter's getting a lower corner exit off of 4, and he's able to close it into the corners, especially on the 1 and 2. You see right there, Hunter's just right up against that white line, and he uses that to his advantage. Now the gap is probably down to 0.1.
I would expect a pass here for the race lead in about, I'd say, 10 laps. If not shorter than that, Zeke. But Saunders, though, he's dropped back to 2.8 seconds. Not sure if he burned the tires off trying to run the outside early in that race, if you can remember. Now Leisure's catching him, but Saunders, though, he's still having a great run in 3rd spot. He's outrunning Christopher Weil right now, which in itself is a pretty good accomplishment for somebody who hasn't raced here in a long time. Beating one of the best here in iSCAR obviously has to feel good.
Hayden works around the 70 of Grindle. Grindle's still falling through after all that damage, but here we go, battle for the lead. It's on as Hunter's down to the backside of the 095. Where are you going to pass there? You want to try the outside, maybe shove it there? No, it looks like Parker washes up the corner. Here comes Hunter.
Johnson to the inside for the race lead. This is an important pass right here. If he's able to complete it and start leading laps, these are bonus points towards his championship fight. Right now, he's 9 points behind Wild for that championship. If he can get maximum points today, he has a chance to take the points lead. It depends on where Wild finishes.
Yeah, and it seems as though I think Hunter led that lap, so that's going to be an extra bonus point, but he still has a chance to grab the win as well, right in front of him. I mean, a win is 3 extra bonus points. And for Hunter, oh, just trying to clear the 095, but both of them just so even off of the corner, and Parker trying to pinch as much as he can on the 12. Doing so successfully, but Hunter still holding high on his on the low side.
Fantastic racing here around the racetrack, but this is what Parker White's doing. He's trying to hold off this 12, but doing so, he's wearing out the right sides of that car. And if you know anything about driving these kinds of setups, you know that the right front will just be abused by doing that, which in turn will make your car tighter, one of the worst conditions to have here at this racetrack.
Regardless, the 12 will hit the lead, and Hunter now leading laps, but Parker not letting go. Oh, looks like Hunter got a better exit off of 2. So I think he'll start to pull, but who knows? There might be a second surge on how this will all go, as they're also approaching a lap car, James Youngman, who's 5 laps down. We'll see on how this will affect these drivers out in the racetrack, but Youngman's going to go ahead and flock up to the high side and out of harm's way. We got a battle brewing up here. It's 4th and 5th coming close as the 70 of Harry Grindle up the racetrack. All eyes up front on seeing how this 12 is going to pull away from the 095.
I can tell that this 095 of Parker White starting to struggle on the exit of turn 2. You can see he has to really slow the car down to be able to get it to turn and to just get a bite here on the throttle as he loses more time to Hunter there. But he's been sending it into turn 3 and 4 these last few laps, just helping him a little bit, at least keeping pace with this 12 car.
Hunter still leads. The gap between looks like Wild and Leisure slowly starting to close, so we might have a battle for 4th on the line, and for the Wild, he needs this spot over the 67 of Leisure to open up the gap by the end of this race. So still yet to see a caution. Drivers just floating around the racetrack for right now. Next lap car they're gonna come upon is gonna be the 6 of Max Yerk, and after that it's a ways ahead to the 21 of Poindexter. So
these top 2 have pulled away to 3.5 seconds over this 85 of Aiden Saunders right now, and then he has just about a 1.5 seconds over Sean Leisure, who is being caught right now by Christopher Wild. These are important points for Christopher, as you alluded to earlier.
yep, and Leisure, oh man, he got loose off of 2. Couldn't get a good corner entry into 3, and Wild had a shot at getting it. Looks like not close enough, but Leisure washes up the racetrack. Oh, close quarters racing as Wild sends it into the corner, trying to scare the 67 up the racetrack. He's doing so nicely. '67 still holding strong. Still relatively close as well. Still close for this lead as Yerk is on the scene of where these leaders are.
Parker was probably just dropping back to save here, but this does help Hunter Johnson with some bonus points. But it's Hunter's job now to hold off Parker White, because I suspect that this 0.95 of Parker White is saving a little bit of tires right now to try and make a run for the win at the end, because it doesn't matter to him. He's not running for points, so he doesn't have to lead all 100 laps of this race. He can drop back and save and make a run at it later. All that matters to him is the race win and $10.
Yerk loose off the corner. Hunter weaves himself to the low side, out of the leader's way. Yerk trying to keep himself on the lead lap, but here comes Parker. That opportunity presented from Yerk is going to allow Parker to close for the lead. Hunter, man, look how shallow he is off of 2. Still very close. Laser goes around.
Oh man, he just punted him straight through that corner and spins him out. But it's a great save for Sean Leisure, but he will go back from 4th to 5th and maybe drop back even further. He tries to get that car going as fast as he possibly can to try and maintain spots, but here he is coming to the pit lane. His tires are probably shot, Zeke. This is a disaster here for the 67.
That's unfortunate, man. I mean, Leisure tried to come down. Wow took the opportunity. Of course, Wow running for a championship, has to get as many positions as he can, but oh man, to boot 67 out of the way for like that, definitely not the way you want to do it. Leisure is gonna slap on probably 4 tires and get himself out in the racetrack as fast as he can. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if to see 67 meet the 41. So we'll just have to see on how it'll all turn out. But still up front, they're still relatively close. It's not over.
And if you're Christopher Weil, you probably do have to be concerned about that, but I don't think Sean Leisure's the type of person to do that. I think he'll just go out and run the rest of his race. Maybe he'll hold up Christopher a little bit, but I think intentional wrecking is out of the realm of possibility at this point.
It's James Youngman in a 32. 41. And now that leaves Weil on an island of his own. It's Leisure and Poindexter going at it as Leisure easily by this 21, which just tells you the difference between old tires versus new tires right there.
So if you're any of these leaders and you see the 67 just fly past you, I think you'd be taking notes on this, especially for a late race restart rather. I don't think anybody will be staying out or even taking 2 tires. This is how much tire wear is important here at this racetrack, as we are now on lap number 62, and Hunter Johnson doing what he has to do to secure this championship.
Yeah, everybody is now on an island of their own, except these 2 drivers, this 12 and 095, Parker White, Hunter Johnson, still yet to disconnect off each other. I thought Hunter would start to pull, but it seems as though, I mean, working up to the 095 cost him a bit. Parker now working to the back end of this number 12 again.
This happens time and time and time again here at the real races, the super late model features and pro late model features at this racetrack. You'll see people have the track position at the start, they'll run away with it, they'll save their tires, they'll let everybody catch up to them, then they'll start pulling away, because that's how much saving matters here at this racetrack, and Parker White employing that strategy. He let Hunter go, and we'll see if he will be able to pass a 12 right now. Looks like both of them, though, are black in grip right here on the racetrack.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, this is probably the deepest run they're going to be in since we're past halfway, and we've been green from lap number 1 all the way to now, so I'm sure we'll see everybody on pit road by, if we do see a caution, but all eyes on these top 2 and how they're going to fare out with each other.
Saunders has dropped back a lot since the last 20 laps or so. He's lost about 2 seconds of time as he's dropped now down to 5.4 seconds behind, and that's Christopher Weil that's actually running him down for that third position.
Mr. Reyes has gone into quickie. Now lap 69 out of 100. Past the 2/3 mark. Hunter Johnson seems as though has a better bite on the O95 of Weil. I mean, on Parker White. He might be able to secure himself a win, so. Just a matter of how it'll go. I mean, the interval between other drivers, Saunders and Weil, is 1.4. Sheen is 4 seconds back at that. Poindexter 3 seconds back of Sheen. And they're still the closest battle for right now is between these two drivers of Hunter and Parker.
Johnson's starting to pull away, though. I've noticed the last few laps that interval has gone up quite a bit here from what it was. So I think Hunter's starting to pull that car, but the caution is out. It does not involve the 41 and 67 as I suspected. This is Max Urich around in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, but I mean, he spun after the caution. I'm curious to see what happened here. Oh, 85.
What in the world? I think he was frustrated because Max seemed to be holding him up for the last few laps, but basically just dumped him there through 1 and 2. And now here's the pit stop that will be so crucial for track position here. This is Hunter Johnson, Parker White, and the rest of the lead lap cars coming in for pit service. That's Christopher Weil coming in right behind him. And I believe the free pass might be the 67, if I'm not mistaken, but he is 2 laps down.
All these drivers in for probably their final pit stop of the night. 4 tires, no surprise for the rest of these drivers, but I mean, Hunter in this number 12. Track drops down, up and away he goes. 20.7, so he's way faster. Had a way faster pit stop than the rest of the drivers here, who are now rolling off a pit road, and Poindexter is going to bring himself in the 5th by the looks of it. And some wave rounds being made as well. I'm not really sure between the contact with the 85 and the 6. I'm not sure if if Aiden was expecting the 6 to go up the racetrack, or or stay up there, because I don't know. I'll have to take another look at it after the race is over. But bring the 70 of Harry back on in.
Well, it seemed like Max was holding him up for just a few laps there, and I wonder if he was just trying to maybe send him through the corner, and he just basically followed them through the corner.
Yeah, that's
and
what I
spun
thought.
him out. But I mean, there could have been some frustrations there, but also you have to think about the noses of these cars. They're pointed out way out from what you would expect from a car, so maybe it just got locked under the 6 car. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities that could have happened there, but what we thought would be a caution-free race has a caution on lap number 72. That's where the caution came out, so it'll be about a 25-lap run to the end, and we'll see if Hunter Johnson can close this one out.
Weil is back on pit road with 1 lap to go. I'm not sure why, but probably gonna, easily drive through. No reason to stop, but he's not gonna be caught up with the field, so potential spots being lost for the 41. There he is, and here's the leaders. Hunter's hit the throttle, green flag, up the way we go. He pulls by 2 car lengths. They see Weil approach the scene, and Saunders now to the inside of Parker White. This is for 2nd, and Urich up the racetrack. We're gonna have a pit wreck.
All right, man. Caution is
Sheen
out.
around, and wow, I mean, there was cars stacked up everywhere. 2nd caution looks to be out here on the racetrack as our pylon has went to yellow here. So This was just a massive stack up going into turn number 1, Zeke. Looks like Youngman got loose and Urich kind of got clipped there, and Leisure with nowhere to go as well hits Sheen and gets him sideways, and that brings out the caution on the racetrack.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Youngman starting in what was the 5th spot. I mean, it's sort of interesting on how that all transpired, and I think the 6 got net-coded up the racetrack as well in result, and kept it straight though somehow and out of the wall, but nobody really spun off of that exchange as Aiden is stopped for some apparent reason, but yeah, that was all a weird bottle up as the 85 is still stopped on the racetrack.
Looks like he might drop 1 lap down here. I'm not sure if the scoring might have an issue on it, or if Saunders just stopped there, maybe had to go do something real quick, but unfortunately falls 1 lap down. So his great run will be halted here as he drops to 8th spot 1 lap down. Look, now looks like he's going back around. I'm not sure if the admins will allow this or not.
I'm pretty sure it's not like the admins are going to allow it. It's iRacing that's going to allow it. As long as you don't hit pit road, I think you're going to be able to keep your track position until the green flag gets dropped. So I'm pretty sure the 85 is still going to get his spots back. Which I have to see, but yeah, it looks like he is going to get his spots back. So I wouldn't say a bit of a loophole right there, but just keeping yourself out on the racetrack is going to allow him to keep that 4th spot.
Last time I had to stop on the track, I didn't get my spots back. So I originally thought that the 85 would have just lost all his spots there, but catches a break and will still be 3rd.
This will leave us with, looks like, maybe 18 laps to go. As we take the 1 to green. So, pull up the laps led board. And Hunter has led more laps than Parker, so another point secure right there. And with Wild going to be starting, looks like in 6th spot. Potential spot's going to be lost there by the number 4-1. You know how restarts are here off of 5 flags, and it's going to be in full swing here as Aiden pushing the 12, and away we go.
Green flag.
Bit of a tire spin right there from right behind, but they make themselves into 1 fairly nicely, and Aiden is now to the inside of Parker. Parker washed up the track, and here comes Aiden.
Saunders to the inside for 2nd spot. We'll see how he is on these short runs. Definitely one of the strongest cars on short runs, but we saw him that long run. He fell way back, about 5 seconds off of the leader, but guess what? We don't have a long run left. This is 16 laps to go. This is time to make up your positions here. Poindexter, though, he's recovered to a nice 4th place run. And Wild, though, he's back at 6th. This is a disaster for him if he can't pick up any positions here. That was a net loss of positions after those cautions flew, and now he's back in 6th spot.
Yeah, and with these drivers just lined up nose to tail, I mean, it's going to be an all-out brawl here in just a moment. 14 laps to go as Saunders trying to close the gap between himself and Hunter. And Parker now trapped behind the 85. What is he going to do best to get around him for that 2nd spot?
Maybe some use of the bumper, we'll see, but Hunter Johnson doing exactly what he has to do as Leisure spins around and Alt F4s to save a caution, so props to him for doing that. He did not have to do that, but for the better of everybody else on the racetrack, he was able to get that car off the racetrack in time, so unfortunately Leisure will be out of the race. Most likely will end up finishing here tonight in 10th spot because James is still on the racetrack, so he'll be the last finisher of the people that started. But right now, Parker White trying to work on Aiden Saunders, but nice arc through the corner there for the 85.
Oh my goodness, you see the hands off of the 85 of Saunders as he fends out Parker. He blocks into 1, but I don't think Parker's going to accept that. Now to the back bumper he goes. Parker maybe he has to move him up the racetrack. I mean, you have no option now since Saunders is blocking. Oh, just so close. He had to jam up on the brakes and Poindexter just about ran into him.
It's working for him, though, because it's messing up the exits of Parker White. As you could see off turn 2 on that last lap, he was really loose and had to chase the car. So we'll see if that happens again here off of turn number 2. You can see, oh man, yes! He's very loose right behind the 85. He's trying to stay off of him because I don't think he wants to move him right now. But Harry loses the spot to Chris. These are important points for Wild, but he has a lot of work to do to catch this 21 car.
Gonna come with 7 laps to go as the fight for second is still going on. Parker White is all over Saunders right now, but can't seem to pass him. Saunders doing all he can to fend out, but here comes Parker. Now to the inside, just about tags the inside wall. Into 1, up the racetrack goes the 85 of Saunders, and tries to come down on the 21. I think there might be contact. He slots in line somehow, and Saunders, he keeps himself in 3rd.
Great awareness by the 85 just to slot into that hole. There's not very many people that can do that accurately without getting dumped after that, but Poindexter does lose some momentum. We'll see if Wild can catch this 21 car now, because that really halted the 21's momentum. Now 5 laps to go.
5 laps to go this time by. Wild resides in 5th spot, but Hunter now up top. Oh man. 4 laps to go at the wire.
Without a caution, I think this one's done. For the race win, at least, but there's still plenty of action left on the racetrack. We'll see if Wild can make up any more spots. These are important points for him. He has to pass this 21. He has to pass this 85 if he wants to keep Hunter Johnson behind him in the point standings.
3 laps to go this time by, and you see the 41 and 21 right in front of this 41 machine. I mean, right in front of this 41 machine. 2 laps to go, and Parker White, the challenge for $10 is sort of slipping from him. The gap between himself and Hunter is 1 second. And even though it's been a 10-car race, it's been very eventful for these last 25 laps. And off the final corner, here we go. White flag this time by for Hunter.
Hunter Johnson takes the white flag. He's done everything he has to here tonight to try and defeat Christopher Wild for this series championship. He came in 9 points back here, and tonight he will gain maximum points on the 41. Tonight he will win once again here in the Super Late Model Series, and will make this championship battle very close next week at Bristol Motor Speedway.
And Wild got by Poindexter for 4th, so ooh, an extra point gain for the 41, but regardless, he is going to lose a bit of points as Hunter takes another checkered flag in this Super Late Model season. And man, as you mentioned, next week is going to be wild at Bristol. That, you know how much of a show that puts on, and you know how many drivers are going to show up to that event. As Hunter burns it down here in the front straightaway, congratulations to him, and we'll full results here after 100 laps.
Hunter Johnson takes the race win by 1.2 seconds over Parker White. Both of those two were the dominant cars of the race. How about Aiden Saunders in his return to racing finishes 3rd here tonight after some wild battles early and late in the race. Christopher Wild, who came in as the points leader, will have some work to do to defend off Hunter Johnson next week in Bristol, Tennessee. He'll finish 4th. Carson Poindexter 5th. That's Wild's teammate. So both of those SPM cars get a great finish here tonight, 4th and 5th. Harry Grindle, Max Urich, Liam Sheen, James Youngman, and Sean Leisure will round out the rest of the drivers that started tonight's race.
We'll be right back here. Going to interview out the top 3 for the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Series. Hunter Johnson wins here at 5 flags. We welcome you all back here for the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Tour. Go ahead and drag in our winner here for tonight, and for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, this is needed. Go ahead and get him in, and Dog will go ahead and
Hunter Johnson,
on in.
do you have a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you.
Absolutely fantastic drive up to the front. You didn't qualify very good, and you seemed a little bit down in that heat race, but you had it just nailed down by halfway, and maximum points here tonight. You come in now tied with the points lead going next week at Bristol, Tennessee. How much of a momentum booster and a confidence booster is this for you going to the end of the championship next week?
I didn't think I'd get here, but I think it's just it's kind of refreshing. I wasn't really trying to think about it too much because I feel like when I set my mind on something or try to live up to something, I put a little bit too much pressure on myself, and I don't really perform well under a lot of pressure. So I kind of lived in the moment there. I didn't really think of the circumstances or whatever of how I finished. Just kind of ran the race. I'm really enjoying right now. I think this iRacing update came at a really good time for me because I was just getting really frustrated with the old track surface. But I think the way they have it now, it suits my driving style so much better. And I think especially on that long run there, I mean, I was able to wheel it. I made contact with a lot of guys, and we were sliding around a bit on the first couple laps, but it didn't kill my tires because the way that I guess the way the track surface is now is that you can kind of still keep speed up without absolutely destroying your tires before like you get 20 laps in the race. So I mean, all in all, it was really just I needed that performance for next week, and I'm gonna have fun battling Chris for the championship at Bristol.
Speaking of that update, the whole Super Late Model was updated in this latest patch. So, what are your opinions on that, and how did you have to get used to this? Because a lot of people said they were fighting loose conditions out on the racetrack here tonight.
Yeah, it was loose, but I think the key to getting or to not getting loose was just to kind of roll it off the bottom. Don't try to exit the corner so early because if you try to swing wide on exit, that's what really will kill your right rear, get you loose. So I was looking at everybody else's tire wear, at least the people who were talking about it at the end of that long run. And my right front seemed to hold up a lot better than most everybody else. So I think I'm off to a good start with understanding this new tire model or the track surface or whatever. But it's really just a confidence booster. I've done well in the past on the old tire model, but I really was just not satisfied with how I was driving. I feel like I got away with wins a lot of times that I didn't drive for. Just maybe got lucky on a caution or something, but I feel like I really drove for this one, so it's just it feels good.
Before we let you go, though, do you have anybody you want to thank? Because this is one of the most clutch wins of your career. Now you're up in the 40s in wins. I mean, what is this, like your 42nd or so win? I mean, it's just crazy how much you've accomplished in this series. But before we do let you go for the night, who do you need to thank?
Well, I did want to say something before I left, and it's in regards to the Xfinity race last weekend on Sunday. So I just wanted to apologize to people that were watching that or people that were in the race because I feel like that was just a really crappy move on my part, to say the least. As you guys are probably aware, I ended up leaving the race because I was really frustrated with the way things were going, and that's really not like me. And I really took a lot of time to reflect after that happened, and wanted to make sure that I made a formal apology to try to move forward from that and continue strong with kind of a rejuvenated feeling for the track and car. And so I just, aside from that though, I got to thank Proximity Racing and all those guys, and then you, Ben, and Zeke, for putting on the broadcast, Max Speed TV, everybody that watched. So, yeah, that's really all I gotta say.
Good luck on Sunday climbing out of that points hole.
All right, thank you.
That's Hunter Johnson, number 12, squirrel back to the 095 of Parker White. Parker led only 34 laps, but lost the lead to Hunter, but he was still staying intact. Parker, of course, first time in the super late model. I mean, in this new super late model, what you feel and what you take off tonight?
Well, I really enjoyed that entire race. Well, mostly up until that caution. This was really my first go at like an actual race in these new super late models. So I just try to kind of feel the car out for those first few laps. And the first thing I noticed is that it feels like it has a lot more horsepower than the old one, and it's more touchy on the throttle. And it's just so much more fun to drive because you really have to kind of just stay on edge the entire time you're driving it if you want to stay competitive. So you just had to be right on edge, as I was saying. And we got out to like a second-ish lead, I think, in the beginning. And I just tried to save my tires a little bit. And I kind of felt like I did that a little because I was able to maintain some speed on Hunter. I know he's really good in these cars. And like you said, this is the first race here in iSCAR with the new Super 8 model bodies. I feel like they definitely reworked them other than just the bodies. Because like I said, they handle different and they're just so much more fun to drive. But yeah, like I was saying, I felt like I saved the tires a little bit, or as I should have to hold a decent pace, which I did there. And then Hunter eventually caught me there, I think around like lap 30-ish, and then we battled side by side there for a while, which was a lot of fun. Like what iRacing was doing with the tracks, like I feel like they did a very good job with trying to bring multi-group racing back, especially like an example of that would be like the Xfinity cars at Homestead or Auto Club. That is really fun to do also. But you can also do it here in the short tracks, like you saw there with Hunter and I battling side by side there for a while. But once Hunter got past me, I just tried to stay intact with him, which I felt like I did. Like I'd just fall back a couple of tenths and I'd be able to kind of regain those couple of tenths that I lost. But yeah, overall that race was a lot of fun. Even after that caution came out, because I had to kind of relearn how to drive the car on new tires. And with Aiden getting past me there at the end, I had to find a way past him to try to get my second place back. And I feel like in these cars, you really have to kind of find a gap more than you did in the old ones. Because in the old ones, I feel like you could really time a run off the corner much better than you can in these. Because with these ones, it's just so much harder to get the power down. Like, yeah, you can get the power down, but that's going to step the rear end out, and you're going to burn the right rear tire off, and you might lose some momentum going down the straightaway. So you just have to be easy on the gas pedal and just make sure you get a good run down the straightaway, which I eventually did there, and I was able to get under him going down there through turn one. And even there, that was some pretty fun racing. So all the way up until the checkered flag, that was a really fun race.
All right, about 10 for Parker White in the 095. Comes up short here at 5 flags, but regardless, a lot of info to be taken off of this super late model here tonight. Congratulations, bud. But before I let you go, I just want to thank you for tonight. Yeah,
I've got to thank my team, Rail Motorsports. I've also got to thank Bunch and Lawn Care, Eel Media, and of course, I've got to thank you guys up here at Max Speed TV for all the broadcasts every week.
All right, about 10 for Parker White in the 095. Rounds himself out in second after starting himself up top. Go ahead and see you coming the next race, bud.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead and drag in one more person. That's will be Aiden Saunders in the 85. Hey, Aiden, it's Zeke up here in the Max Speed TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Aiden, man, you round yourself out third after a nice return here to iSCAR. I mean, of course, question of the day, I mean, first time everybody has been in race conditions in this new super late model, and it seems as though you like a looser set here tonight, and of course 5 flags for the 5 flag set provided you a loose set and wheeled it here to third, man. Congratulations, and of course, talk to me about our restarts here tonight. You were definitely the name of the game.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, my restarts are fine. I felt like if I'd have cleared Parker into turn one, I could have had a better shot on the initial start. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. a pretty boring race to me, honestly. I don't know, just a lot of riding around saving tires. But when we got those couple cautions at the end, that made it fun, and almost held off Parker there, but he just got by me.
Yeah, that's right. You two were close off of the restart, and you got in front of him momentarily, but then you lost the spot to him. What could you have done to fend out second?
I don't know. If I'd have just calmed down a bit and spun my tires less, then I probably would have had him at least a couple more laps. But like I felt like if I would have gotten much more defensive there, it would have just gotten turned. So yeah, I knew he was faster anyway. I was just trying to do what I could.
All right, but 10-4. Aiden Saunders shows himself out in third. Before we let you go, and sponsor want to thank you for tonight.
No, I got no one, honestly.
All right, but 10-4. Aiden Saunders shows himself out third. Go ahead and see you coming next race, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Aiden Saunders in the number 85. But before we dip out tonight's broadcast, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight for the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Series. Of course, you can tune in Friday night when we go green for the truck race. So that'll be an exciting one to see on how that'll all turn out. But Benjamin, any last second comments before we head out?
This is probably the best super late model race we've seen start to finish here in this series this season. So much storylines behind this race. Points leads, I mean, there was great battles on the racetrack. This new update, I mean, there was just a lot of stuff to unpack tonight, and we had a great show here tonight. And now, with the points tied going next week to Bristol, Tennessee, this is going to be one heck of a championship battle to follow.
Yep, that is right, and that'll do it here for tonight. My name is Ezeckiel Reyes, Benjamin A. White, alongside of me with this one. Go ahead and see you coming Friday night.